Welcome to week 3. All right, so good job on the discussion board. We're moving into moral skepticism this week. That's a broad term. That's the term I got from our textbook. In general, it's just a variety of ways to deny moral realism, common sense morality. So there are a variety of ways to do that. We're going to look at some of those ways this week and see if there are good arguments for, against moral realism, basically. But okay, things I just saw on the discussion board. A whole lot of you wanted to talk about the political question. I'm not going to be able to help you make a whole lot of headway on it. It's really a social question that would require empirical research and all that. But good thinking. I did want to clarify that, pointing out that conservatives place more weight on authority, loyalty, and purity. That's not saying that conservatives are to blame for the divide. I could have reworded the question to say that liberals place less weight on those three things and made the same point, right? So it's a comparison, not a blame thing. But yeah, and also, by the way, harm and fairness are the two that basically conservatives and liberals and everyone agree are morally important. So that's actually worth keeping in mind. That's an important point. Those two, pretty much everyone agree, are part of morality, right? It's those other three categories that are controversial, and that explains some things anyway. But the other main one had to do with System 1, System 2. I guess there are two questions about it. Not very many of you talked about that, and those who did actually agreed. For example, Pa and DeAndre both agreed that System 1 is just as useful as System 2. That's not usually what I see on these discussion boards. Usually a lot of people think that System 2, because it is a more reflective process, is going to tend to be more reliable. But you made good points, actually. System 1, for example, it's Pa pointed to the human cadaver example in the overview video, right? In that example, you got that initial reaction. Seems like that initial reaction is right. Why should I doubt it? Just because it's System 1 doesn't mean it's a bad reaction. You'd kind of be crazy to think that it's okay to eat a human cadaver, right? Even if you can't explain why. And DeAndre said some similar things. He did point out eventually you'll have to use your System 2 especially to understand the other side. That's a nice way to look at it. So yeah, I think at least those two had a pretty clear sense of what we mean by System 1 and System 2, and also a pretty reasonable idea of, in the end, System 1 is going to include your conscience, just your initial moral reactions to things. And if you can't trust your conscience at all, that's going to be a problem. But it is worth thinking about maybe whether by reflecting on it, you can improve your conscience. I think almost everyone should agree that reflection sometimes can lead you to a better conclusion. So, all right, that's it for this walking video, and let's move on to thinking about moral skepticism.